Welcome to the Indie Showcase, highlighting the many indie game demos and developer-submitted games we play here. If you'd like to submit a game for a future piece, please get in touch. But this week seems to be the boomer shooter, as we are playing a lot of the demos that I played of shooters from various festivals. And we are starting off with Cultic. This is a game that, as you can tell by the visual style, is very reminiscent of Blood, where we have been revived, there are evil cultists trying to kill us, and we are going to shoot, stab, and blow stuff up along the way for vengeance. Now, the visual style is definitely different. I find it is a little bit hard on the eyes, especially if you're looking at it for a long period of time. I don't know if there are ways to adjust the visual stylings in the menus or if that will be an option. But as for the actual shooter play, this is again classic FPS design. You have locational based damage. There's definitely a focus on using melee, especially if you're playing this on the higher difficulties where bullets and range ammo is going to be a little bit scarcer. For me, when we played the demo, I liked it, but it does, again, harken back to some of the older shooters. So if you're looking for a newer take on this design, I don't know if Cultic is going to do it for you, but if you do enjoy Blood, and again that kind of variety of weapons both that you can use as well as the enemies, then I would say check this one out. We now switch from, boomer shooter to Hotline Miami shooter. This is Project Downfall. And what we have here is kind of like the first person stylized take on the Hotline Miami formula, where each level has you killing enemies as quickly and as bloodthirsty as you can, all while you are trying to keep your combo going and not get killed in the progress. You have different pills that you can take that will adjust your character's state of mind, and the store page boasts multiple endings and different ways of getting through each level. Now, as you can tell by that lovely graphic in the upper left, this is definitely not a game aimed at kids. And yes, if you found Hotline Miami to be a little too mature for you, then this game is definitely, I think, going to be too much for you in that respect. But the general play is definitely a mix of range and melee combat, and everything is pretty decisive in terms of the damage that you put out. From when we play this one, it definitely has style to spare. I'm not sure where they're going to go with the different paths, different routing, and if that will actually affect the gameplay at all. But if you aren't minded by the ultra-violence and looking for a very stylized FPS, I would say check this one out. It is on early access, and I believe the demo is still available now. We've seen plenty of Doom-likes, but with Hrot, this is kind of a Quake-like. Another demo we checked out. As you can tell, we have a boomer shooter, as we are exploring a Middle Eastern country when a strange set of invaders, monsters, and all that have invaded. So what we're going to do is pull out our nearest gun and start exploring some maze-like levels. So this one from the demo that we played is definitely inspired by more of the Quake style, with avoiding lots of projectiles, the kind of, grays and browns of that game, and of course fighting all manner of enemies. Now, from the demo though, we were limited in terms of how much we could actually see, but this one definitely feels like it has some pretty solid gunplay and decent variety of enemies. It is available on early access, and I do not know at the time where it is in terms of development. But this is one of those games that it is what you see is what you get. If you're looking for another boomer shooter-esque kind of game and you are fans of Quake, definitely check out Hrot. But again, like some of the other games that we've seen, if you're hoping for an iteration or an evolution on this gameplay going somewhere different, I don't know if it's going to go that far. But with that said, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we have 3 more games for our showcase. And as always, if you're interested in my thoughts on design, then check out my design books. For entry-level students, we have 20 essential games to study, and then the Game Design Deep Dive series that takes an extensive look at different genres, with free-to-play coming in 2022. We're now switching our graphic style to a voxel for Arkos. The footage that you're seeing is from the demo, but we did play the full version of this game on stream a few months after this was taken. But this is, as you can tell, a first-person shooter, with our key element being we're using magic wands in a fantasy setting, as opposed to grim and gray with a lot of modern shooters. So for this one, the big issue that I had is that the gunplay doesn't really work, I think, as exciting as it could be, or I guess I should say the wand play. As your wands will just shoot out different kinds of projectiles, taking the form of, again, like machine gun, shotgun, pistol, etc. But none of it, I think, has that same kind of kinetic impact as we've seen from other shooters as of late. The level design is quite interesting. It definitely falls into kind of the maze-like designs of 90s shooters, of course, like Doom. And if you're looking for an FPS where you can kind of explore and look for secrets and all kinds of stuff like that, then I would say this one has some decent variety to it. But if you're hoping for an FPS that has some really solid gunplay to it, or just general play, then I don't think this game is going to work for you. But it does feel like a decent game for either someone who's new to FPSs, or is looking for one that's a little bit on the easier or streamlined side. We now turn to Dread Templar, and this is a game that definitely shows a lot of potential. It is currently in early access, and what you see may not represent the current version of it. But this feels kind of like a middle ground between a retro shooter and more of the kind of push-forward combat design philosophy of games like Ultra Kill, Doom Eternal, etc., etc. Our stories, of course, we are fighting demons and monsters and all that, and expect you to do a lot of pew-pewing around various crypts, courtyards, and other dimensions. What separates Dread Templar from a lot of the other games that we've played is that there is a full-on skill tree and skill unlock system. Each one of your various weapons can have these kinds of secondary skills attached to them, which in turn will change their behavior, such as making your gun be more rapid fire, turning into a long-range sniper, affecting your powers, and so on. And you'll find these by exploring the various levels, completing bonus challenges, and of course you get the picture. So the big thing that I like about Dread Templar is the variety of ways that you can fight. You have your sword, which can also double as a one-shot mega hit. You'll gain different abilities, such as being able to slow down time, as well as weapons with different secondaries, etc., etc. And it all is wrapped up with some really great metal music, as well as some fantastic gunplay. What I think will also resonate with people is that of kind of like the more push-forward combat shooters, Dread Templar is not as high speed as, say, Ultra Kill or Doom Eternal. Being able to get powers that let you slow down time, as well as the progression, also affords this game to have a little bit more of a, I guess, learning curve, compared to Doom Eternal, which is just basically, here's a room full of all these enemies running at your high speed, try not to die. So if you are looking for not a fastest pace, but a fast-paced shooter, definitely check out Dread Templar. I think this one shows a lot of promise. I don't know where it is at in terms of its early access as we speak, but I am hoping that this game will be out by the end of 2022. For our last shooter of the showcase, we have Fallen Aces. This is FPS Noir Immersive Sim, which is a whole lot of adjectives right there. But we play as the remaining hero in a crime-filled city. And in order to survive and figure out what's going on, we are going to have to bust heads, throw stuff, or be all sneaky-like and try to avoid combat whenever you can. So the immersive sim aspect of this one comes in with the variety of ways that you can explore and complete your objectives. Each level will have your primary objective, but how you get to it and what you do along the way is entirely up to you. And the game doesn't quite reward you, either going full stealth or full action, but just lets you decide what you want to do. You can sneak around, try to find an alternate way into a building, or pick up the nearest trash can, throw it at a bunch of thugs, and start punching. And the game has a really great kind of comic book style aesthetic to it as well. Now, from the demo that we played, there is certainly a lot of potential here, and it's kind of hard for me to find anything, I think, at fault with the demo as it stands right now. If you're looking for another kind of like immersive sim style game, and you also really like noir as well, then definitely check out the demo. It is still available right now. I don't know when the actual release date is going to be, but certainly another game that shows potential. So, with that said, I hope you like this shooter-filled extravaganza of indie games. You'll find links to all the titles down below. And as always, if you want to look at your game, it doesn't have to be shooter-related, then please get in touch. Check out the Discord and Patreon as well, and come back for daily discussions on game design here, and on game wisdom, where some of the art and science of games. Until next time, take care.